I think the less we consume and the more we create, the healthier we are.
Josh Vulcano on the podcast. Everyone, welcome to the show. Finally, after multiple failures of saying you'll be on it, you won't be on it, and having fill-ins such as Nathan Butler. Let's give it up for Nathan. I don't have a clap sound effect, I don't think.
Nope, you don't?
No clap sound effect. So, Josh, welcome.
How does it feel? That the camera was on, and I picked my nose right on camera.
YouTube will see that. Everyone else that's just listening won't have to see that. Yeah, how's it going? What made you not come the 2 days that you were supposed to come? And
I honestly don't remember.
Just didn't care enough. Just didn't want to be on the podcast.
No, I don't think so. I mean, all of my OC friends live like an hour away, so I really have to motivate myself.
Yeah,
I try to plan my OC days and bundle them all together.
You're from Santa Monica. Clear that up for the people.
Venice Beach.
Yeah.
I try to go to Santa Monica every once in a while. Yeah. It's a little more bougie.
In what way?
Venice is a little more artsy.
How is it more bougie, though? I feel like just that whole area is...
Well, it is all bougie. I mean, all of LA you could classify as bougie, but it's a special kind of bougie. It's like, imagine each different type of rich person all bundled together into one big block of a place, and then they're all sectioned off into their own little districts where they belong. Like kind of the street-loving, hip-hop, fun life, throw art on the wall type people, they're in Venice. And then like the classier version of that, they're the arts district. And then the fancier, less artistic version of that, they're in Santa Monica. So there's like a little triangle on the west side.
Okay.
And then you have the west side people that are actually in the west side.
Interesting.
To the east of the arts district on the west side. It gets confusing. Just look at a map.
I guess I'll have to look at a map and decipher which is the bougiest of the bouge. So what's been up with you, bro? I know you've been wanting to go to London for a while now. Josh has expressed to me that he has been saving up for a trip for London. Mm-hmm. God has put it on his heart for him to go to London. And what exactly do you want to do in London? And yeah, we'll start that.
That's a good question. Well, I'll clarify by saying quite some time I have felt a very clear call to go to London. Mm-hmm. And I basically want to start my life over there. Mm-hmm. But when so much of my life is established in Los Angeles and Orange County, I have to really find a motivating enough reason to go over there and really uproot my life here to there. Mm-hmm. What I really want to do is work in the film industry over there and start my own thing, make my own art, just be creative overall. I express that through many different means, like filmmaking and acting.
Is there a reason why London specifically?
Well, there's something about London that I do love. I love that England honors its history more than America and builds on this foundation of what's already come before it. Yeah. That's really special to me. Okay. Or America, it's like build, and build. In England, it's take what we know and go from there, which may mean we may not innovate as much and we may piggyback of what other people do, like America. Mm-hmm. But there's an established formula of their identity there. So they feel a little more secure. I mean, they've been around for thousands of years. Sure, there's been different parliaments and declarations, but...
History. Interesting.
It's history. Yeah.
Josh, tell me why you haven't gone to London yet, because a while ago, this is something you've been talking about for a while, and you said that in February or at the end of February, something like that was your goal to go, or even earlier than that. What is the holdup? What has been going on?
A lot of things. Yes. Coronavirus is one of them.
That's been happening.
The fact that I have not been allowed to be in London because I need a visa to legally enter into London, because when I last tried to enter into England, I was designated a terrorist and put in jail.
You heard it here first. Josh is a terrorist.
Yeah.
Talk about that story. Give like a short and condensed version of that
Yes.
story. And I think you got put into like an interrogation room or something of that nature.
It's a long one, and it's a kind of a scary one.
Yeah.
It involves very British people and Brexit and things just not making any sense at all.
Mm-hmm.
I had gone backpacking throughout Europe for a couple of months, and my end goal of the trip was to go to London, just because I wanted to at the time. And I had all my paperwork in mind, or not in mind, but ready, and I was going to stay with a friend over there. And for some reason, Border Patrol just did not believe me. Now, I tried to get into London 2 months prior to work at a conference. They thought I was working at the conference because I stupidly said I was working in London. Mm-hmm. Something you should never do. So you should always say you're a tourist. Well, not right now because of COVID. Mm-hmm. But when you do get your visa, just say what you need to say and nothing else. Yeah. Just speak very clearly and honestly, and don't try to win them over or talk to them about Jesus or do any of the things that I did, basically.
Oh my gosh, you're funny, bro. Yeah.
So
you got it. Yeah. So you got into all that trouble over there. Some encouragement that I want you to kind of talk about, and something that even I look to you for, and I say, that's crazy how you just dropped everything and did that. You went on a trip with YWAM. Mm-hmm. What would you call that trip? Like, just to title it, what would you call, like, what were you doing over there?
It was a discipleship training school.
Discipleship training school. And how long were you there for?
6 months.
6 months. Dropped everything over here, quit your job, left everyone you know and loved, and you went there for 6 months and you dropped everything. Talk to people about the faith it takes and, the mindset that you have to just do it. Oh. Nike, just do it.
Well, that, for a lot of people in our generation, the millennials and the Gen Z, we really deal with depression. And the reason we have depression is because we are overstimulated. We are given so much stuff that we consume daily. It overloads our brain to the point where we get stuck. Yeah. I mean, this is what doctors have studied. There is research that says this. We have to do what we can to get unstuck. Okay. And the way we get unstuck is to not stimulate ourselves.
What do you mean by that? Stimulate stuff like social media or?
Everything that does not lead us toward our purpose. And our purpose is who we are. Mm-hmm. And the way we find that is by having a relationship with God and weeding out the things that don't show us our identity. Now, I'm the first to say I'm not perfect at that by any means. Mm-hmm. In fact, it's something I really struggle with. And doing something like a discipleship training school where, yes, I did drop everything and go about this thing that I basically did not know much about other than the little research that I had done. I did it because I needed something to reignite my faith and reignite my creativity because I had overstimulated myself.
Yeah. Do you feel like you got that when you went there?
To an extent, yes and no. It was very different than what I thought it was going to be. It was a very different type of crowd. In some ways, it felt like a step back. In some ways, it felt like a huge step forward. Okay. There were days I was saying, like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm doing this. I can't believe I'm doing this instead of, like, parked behind a desk working for a church. And other days I was like, this feels like high school again. I mean, I'm doing this school with a bunch of 18-year-old girls that don't understand me or my brain in the slightest. And I just feel like such an outcast. But then I just had to learn to own that because that's my identity. Yeah. So it's tricky. It's not an easy fix to get unstuck. It's not an easy snap of the fingers to suddenly be better. It's a process, and it takes work. It takes focus, things that I need more of, just being honest.
Facts.
But I think the less we consume and the more we create, the healthier we are. And that's something I definitely learned while I was over in Amsterdam and India, where I did my DTS.
The less we consume, the more we create, the healthier we are. Give some people examples of how we can do that to a lower level rather than dropping everything and moving to another country. How can we do that here today in America where, generally the place where we're at and people have normal jobs and all this other stuff?
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend to leave your job and drop everything. Actually, especially right now where everyone's working from home, I, in fact, encourage people to stay in their jobs and work on their side hustle. I'm actually trying to find another full-time job again so I can spend more time on my side hustle.
Yeah.
In fact, I don't feel I have enough time to work on my side hustle because my hustle right now is just earning a living.
Yeah.
So what's one of the best things about a lockdown is it's forced everybody to work from home, which is something we should have been able to do 5-10 years ago when it became available, but people just didn't understand how it was able to work. And now that it works so well, you can do so much more with it. You can work anywhere in the world at any time at your job. I've been encouraging people in my family, people that are close to me, to go do these trips, go take these adventures, go spend the money that you're earning because you can, and work your job at a hotel room. I just told a friend today, go work your job at Disneyland.
Yeah.
Because you can. And that's really cool. That's really exciting. Yeah. I envy that, actually, and is one detriment and something I just have to accept when it comes to the fact that I did leave my full-time job. I did decide to work the starving artist life because that's what I wanted. But now I instead, mostly because of the virus, want to go back to this new kind of working, which is something that's actually kind of in the middle that works, which is working a full-time 9 to 5 and being able to do your side hustle because you just have so much more flexibility to do so.
Right. And I feel like that's a really good point. I feel like when you say working a 9 to 5, that kind of turns people off that are more creative and want to do things that they want to do rather than working a job just to earn money and not necessarily liking the job. But it's so interesting that you say that you have more flexibility with that. And I see that now, recently having left my full-time job and doing my own thing. You do have a lot more flexibility in certain senses and a lot less in other senses, but you have more flexibility in, say, your funds and your income. You don't have to rely necessarily on yourself to make however much income you need to make a month in order to make ends meet and then have whatever money you need to spend it elsewhere. A strategy that I've heard people like Gary Vee talk about is like working that 9 to 5, making that money, and then investing that money into your side hustle.
Yes.
Because if you're just doing your side hustle like full time, you might be able to make it work on whatever budget you're working. Like, for example, photography, or you're into videography, that equipment costs money and you need to fund that. And you also need to fund things like if you actually want it to be a business, advertising, all that other stuff. If you want to like expand, even if it's just local advertising with social media ads, it's crazy that mindset that I've realized, because I didn't realize it beforehand, but I realize it now and I appreciate it so much, of how much flexibility you can have working a 9 to 5, and that's 8 hours of the day, right? So you still have another 16.
Yes.
Did that math right? And obviously you should use that other 8 hours for sleep. So you have 8 whole hours.
7, yeah.
You still have realistically 8 other hours of the day to do what you want to do.
Especially if you're single and don't have kids.
If you're single, you don't have kids, you should be hustling like a mother.
Yes, there's really no excuse.
Yeah.
My hustle right now has been to find work that allows me to do those other hustles. That's just right now. That's incredibly temporary, and I expect that to end soon once I do find that thing that just gives me that income to survive.
Yeah,
because that's important. Not taking care of yourself is not good.
Yeah.
Being healthy is really important.
Yeah, I feel like. Have you really been hustling though?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
There are days when I haven't. Today I wasn't. Today
Yeah.
I was totally just chilling, hanging out, watching iCarly.
Watching iCarly.
Let's talk about iCarly. To
What do you want to
totally
talk
go
about?
against everything I just said, I have been consuming a lot of iCarly because it hits different as a grown-up. It is so good, and Spencer is exactly who I will be like as a dad, just with that
If you know
online
Josh
job.
and you know iCarly, you know Spencer is a spitting image of Josh, or Josh is a spitting image of Spencer, whatever you want to call it.
That's the best compliment anyone's ever said.
It is what it is, I guess. Yeah, why do you think it hits different? Like now, watching it as a grown adult and having gone through a little bit more of life than when we were, I don't remember now how old we were, like 14, 15, maybe watching it. Yeah.
It's amazing that show was so prophetic, if you want to use that word. I mean, it captured the idea way before TikTok, way before even YouTube. The idea of creating content with just a camera and a Wi-Fi connection. That is incredible that Dan Snyder was able to conjure up that idea from such an early point. And
I feel like web shows weren't a big thing when iCarly
they
was
weren't
doing
even a thing.
Right.
Nobody
There was people like Fred though. Like you remember Fred?
Yeah, but that was like the exact same time. I would be surprised if Fred was inspiration for iCarly. I think Fred came out as iCarly was coming out. I don't know. I don't know. Smosh was doing some of their stuff back in 2005, 2006, but the fact that it predicted that lifestyle and that mindset that, hey, we can do this and it's easy to do it and anyone can do it.
Anyone can do it.
They literally, there were literally two teenage girls that had this idea and just did it. They had no talent, they had no training, but they just had an empty room in their apartment and they went up and filmed and made videos and had fun.
Yeah.
That inspired me.
Kind of like this.
Exactly.
220 somethings on a podcast talking about nonsense. Yeah, that is crazy to think about. What is like your favorite iCarly moment, I guess?
Oh, there's so many. There's so many laugh out loud moments with Spencer. Something I was thinking on the way over here was when he's cooking. He's reading a cookbook that says, crack 2 eggs into the bowl. Okay, cracks 2 eggs. But only the egg whites. Aww. And he has to fish the egg yolks out.
I feel like the iCarly humor, the Dan Schneider humor with iCarly and, Victorious and Drake and Josh especially, it's different. It's different than anything else that's on any other, Cartoon Network or Nickelodeon show or anywhere else really. And I feel like it's kind of my humor.
Yeah, I agree.
I find myself referencing specifically like Drake and Josh stuff all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's clean for everyone, but has that right kind of edge.
Not exactly clean for everyone though. Have you seen the?
Oh yeah, it's got that edge, which I like.
Where they talk like when we were not even when we were 13, we knew what we would say dirty jokes and all this stuff, but I don't think we exactly knew what everything meant.
No,
but now we do, and the stuff that you hear people say on that show, and I can't think of any examples right now. It's like, Dan Schneider, you know what you're doing.
You like those feet?
Yeah. Have you heard it or even seen the conspiracy videos? At this point, I don't even think it's a conspiracy. I think it's facts of all the weird videos of the stars that were on his show, and then the Nickelodeon logo is a foot.
I wouldn't be surprised.
He has a foot fetish.
Yeah, he's got a foot fetish. He's like the Tarantino of TV.
Tarantino has a foot fetish?
Oh my God, he's got the biggest foot fetish. Watch any Tarantino movie, you'll be like, this guy likes feet.
I've only watched Django Unchained.
That's got some feet in it. But man, if you watch like Kill Bill or Death Proof, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood for sure. I think
that's his movie.
Feet. Yeah, it's his movie. Oh. Dirty feet. He likes dirty feet.
Dirty feet.
Dirty feet.
Okay.
Dan Snyder likes clean feet. Like I think of the episode where Carly got her her toe stuck in the faucet. It's a later episode. I don't think that one's on Netflix yet. That's another thing I wanted to say is that it's only got the first 2 seasons.
Oh, it does.
I grew up watching, but there's actually the later seasons that came out when I was a freshman, sophomore that I stopped watching that I want to go back and watch.
Yeah.
But they're not on Netflix.
What, are they going to release them?
I think so. I think they're coming to Paramount Plus, which is the new streaming service, which is going to host the iCarly revival that's coming out later this year.
When is that coming out?
I don't know. But Nathan Kress, Jerry Trainer, and Miranda Cosgrove posted a photo together, and they were like, it's back. We're coming back.
So you think they're going to take everything off of Netflix anyway and just host everything on, what is it, Paramount Plus?
I would assume so, yeah. I think Netflix is just the little taste to get people excited again.
And it's crazy how you see all these iCarly clips everywhere on TikTok. Like all of a sudden everyone's watching it. And there's probably like a whole generation that probably shouldn't have been watching it. They were probably like too young. And they're watching it now and understanding the jokes better and all this other stuff. So that's really cool to see kids on TikTok discovering this new TV show, even though it's been there for a while. Yeah, and posting the clips and kind of, bless you, jeez.
Sorry, I've been gassy.
Yeah. It's kind of like the same thing I was saying. Like people are posting the clips and like kind of like saying pause and being like, "This is a kid show."
Mm-hmm. It's weird. Yeah, they made an angina joke in one episode I watched. Thought that was really funny. I have an angina.
I don't know what that means. I haven't seen that episode yet. I don't remember that episode, but all right. Okay. Yeah, anyways, I want to look up all the conspiracies for iCarly and just have a dedicated show to talk about iCarly with you.
I think that's a great idea. I'd be down.
Yeah, we'll do that on the next time we get you on here. iCarly dedicated podcast. What if we did that?
That sounds like
we just analyze every episode.
I'm so down.
How many seasons are there?
I think there's 4 or 5.
Yeah.
One season may have been split into 2 or something like that, but I think there is definitely like 2 seasons. I checked IMDb. There's 2 seasons that are missing on Netflix, and that's the seasons where Sam and Freddie start dating and other things happen. I think that's the only like momentous thing. But they end up like falling in love, which is really cool because like their hate for each other on the show is so adorable.
I remember that though.
It's so cute, and I just love that. When I grow up and I have a daughter, I want my home to be this creative, colorful place that everybody can come over and make their videos or do whatever the next generation is doing to be creative. And I just want my home to be a home that anyone can just come over anytime to, like, not even knock on the door, just come in and make stuff. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. I can't even go to your house right now. Not allowed.
No, I live at Haven right now. If you want to Google Haven.
Some sorority or something, right?
Something
secret
weird.
Club.
Everybody's got an old bunk pod thing, and it's a wild time.
Do you have anything else you want to talk about before we wrap up here?
Let's talk about that foot fetish. That's kind of weird.
I don't want to talk about foot fetishes, so we're just gonna end it. I think it's kind of. I have a soundboard like iCarly. I can play different sounds. That was an interesting. Yeah, I just sit here all day in front of a camera and play these sounds. That was an interesting episode, Josh.
Mm-hmm.
We started off pretty serious, talked about purpose and calling and leaving everything for your purpose and calling, getting detached from media and distractions. And then we swerved off into the deep depths
Totally
of
swerved.
Dan Schneider and iCarly and everything that entails with that. So if you made it this far, congratulations. High five to you. This is a very interesting episode. I never know what to expect when I'm with Josh Vulcano of all people. Josh, appreciate you having you on the show.
Thank you.
End it with the code fist bump. And we'll get you on again, and maybe we'll do a dedicated iCarly episode.
That sounds great.
By the way, guys, just a quick, disclaimer. I haven't found a niche for what this podcast will be yet, so I'm kind of just going off the cuff, if you will. And if you don't like that and you want to stick around anyway, I would appreciate it. If you don't like it and you want to leave, I understand. But I'm doing this to grow my communication skills more than anything. Appreciate you guys listening. Appreciate you guys watching. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.